Hello everybody and welcome back to another UFC breakdown and prediction video. Today we will be breaking down UFC 290, Alexander Volkanovski taking on Taira Rodriguez in the main event of the evening. But before we do that though, please like, subscribe, comment some of your best bets down in the comments below. I do put a lot of effort into these videos, about 25 hours a week on tape study, just to find the best bets, to find the best predictions, and to find some of the best props out there for you guys. So yeah, let's get right into this video. For our first fight tonight, we have Kirk taking on Saaiman Vs Kirk coming in about a plus 130 underdog, Saaiman Vs coming in about a minus 160 favourite. I'm going to have to side with Kirk in this matchup. I feel like he can win this fight in many ways. He has a 4th degree black belt, I'm pretty sure. High level black belt. Very good on the feet. He is hittable, but I do feel like he can keep this at range. Hit his straight punches on Ribovics. He doesn't move his head much, but neither does Kirk. Both guys' defense isn't the best, but I'm taking the shot on the underdog here. He has many ways to win this matchup. He can grapple Ribovics in this matchup. Ribovics was grappled like 9 times, taken down 9 times by Loic Retsabov in his last matchup. So yeah, there's a clear path to victory for Kirk in this matchup. Ribovics is dangerous though, but I do like the odds at plus 130. I think I got in at plus 150 1 unit on Kirk in this matchup. I do see Kirk getting the submission in the second round. You know, Ribovics, like I said, is taken down very easily and has to use massive explosions to get up back to his feet, and I do see Kirk having that superior BJJ to win minutes on the back and get that submission via rear naked choke in the second round. Moving on to our next fight, we have Shannon Ross taking on Jesus Aguilar. Both guys coming off a loss. Shannon Ross coming off back-to-back losses to Clayton Rodriguez and Vinicius Salvador. Jesus Aguilar coming off a loss to Tatsuro Taira. Shannon Ross coming in about a plus 150 underdog. Jesus Aguilar coming in about a minus 175 favourite. This is a 1-800 gamblers fight right here. I'm going to have to side with the underdog once again here though. Shannon Ross, I feel like he is the better striker by far on the feet, and he can keep this on the feet. Jesus Aguilar is a decent wrestler, a good grappler, a very nasty guillotine. He almost got Tatsuro Taira in a guillotine, but Tatsuro Taira is just on another level on the grappling to Jesus Aguilar. Shannon Ross, I feel like is going to win minutes on the feet here. He has the far better striking, the crispier striking by far. Jesus Aguilar does not want to be on the feet in this matchup, or he's just going to get pieced up for 3 rounds here. So yeah, give me Shannon Ross by decision. I just really like the striking of Shannon Ross in this matchup, and from the regional tape I've done, he does have some good takedown defense. On to our next fight, we have Saaiman taking on Taira Mitchell. Saaiman coming in about a minus 480 favourite, and Taira Mitchell coming in about a plus 350 underdog here. Both guys 5-0 in their last 5 matchups. However, Taira Mitchell has faced some absolute bums on the regional scene. I mean, I could barely find tape. I had to go through a live stream where there was about 50 people in the crowd watching Taira Mitchell in his last fight in Alaska regionals, which is some of the worst regionals you could possibly go to. But yeah, he's taking it on short notice. The guy's never been to the 3rd round, and I do see Saaiman being able to keep this on the feet. And if he is taken down, he can stay safe for a round, because Taira Mitchell doesn't seem to have the best cardio. From the tape I've watched, he doesn't have the best striking, and I do see Saaiman piecing this guy up on the feet and finding a finish in that 2nd round when Taira Mitchell starts to gas out. So yeah, give me Saaiman. He's just a way better fighter here. He's got way better striking, very good technical Muay Thai, good leg kicks, good body kicks, very crisp striking, great counters on the feet, and a very, very good prospect at 135. So yeah, give me Saaiman by 2nd round finish. For next fight, we have Whittaker Petrino taking on Maddalena Prachnio. Whittaker Petrino 8-0 undefeated prospect. Maddalena Prachnio on a 1-fight win streak, 16-6, defeating William Knight in his last matchup. Whittaker Petrino coming in about a minus 275 favourite. Maddalena Prachnio coming in about a plus 220 underdog. I'm going to have to side with the heavy favourite in this matchup, Vitor Petrino. I just feel like Vitor Petrino can win this matchup in a variety of ways. As we've seen in his last matchup against Anton Tolkaj, he took the grappling to the grappler and did very well in those grappling sequences. But Marcin Prachnio does have some good takedown defense. But the thing is, when you grapple Marcin Prachnio, he gasses very, very fast, as we've seen in his fight against Felipe Lins. So if Vitor Petrino can implement somewhat of a similar game plan, which I expect him to Felipe Lins, he can have much success in this fight. But even on the feet, you know, Marcin Prachnio is a good kickboxer, but I do see Vitor Petrino getting into a brawl here and definitely landing on Prachnio in this matchup. Prachnio does have a questionable chin, been KO'd 3 times in the UFC, his first 3 fights actually, to Mike Rodriguez, Magomed Ankalaev, and Sam Alvey. That's a definite fade if you're getting KO'd by Sam Alvey, especially if it was within the last 5 years. So yeah, give me Petrino by first round KO. But like I said, he does have many ways to win this matchup. On to our next fight, we have Edgar Chairez taking on Tatsuro Taira. Edgar Chairez coming in about a plus 600 underdog. Tatsuro Taira coming in about a minus 910 favourite. I'm going to obviously have to side with Tatsuro Taira here. I think he'll get it done in the first or second round. I do like the under 1.5 in this matchup. You know, Edgar was completely grappled by Jesus Aguilar on the regional scene, and he was grappled on the Dana White Contender Series against Clayton Carpenter. Tatsuro Taira is just on another level to this guy. Even on the feet, I would fancy my chances to, you know, minus like 300-400 favor on the feet even. You know, Edgar is dangerous. He does have some good knees, decent power for that division, but, you know, Tatsuro Taira is just levels above him. So yeah, give me Tatsuro Taira by rear naked choke first round. For our next fight, we have Jimmy Crute taking on Alonzo Menifield, the rematch. Jimmy Crute coming in about a minus 115 favourite. Alonzo Menifield coming in about a minus 105. Slight underdog here. So in their last fight, it was a very, very back and forth fight. Jimmy Crute had much success in the grappling. Alonzo Menifield hurt Jimmy Crute multiple times in that fight. But I'm going to have to side with Jimmy Crute. I got him at about plus 100. Put 2 units on him to win 2 units. I just like Jimmy Crute's grappling in this matchup. You know, in the last fight, I think he was trying to play to the crowd too much. You know, his IQ isn't the best. His striking defense is like terrible, but you know, in the grappling, he is actually very, very good at light heavyweight. You know, Alonzo Menifield does have some big power in his hands, but I feel like Jimmy Crute can get this fight to the ground quickly and definitely get a submission in this matchup this time, because no one was expecting that last fight to go to the distance. I think the distance is a safe bet this time, but you never know, it might go the distance again. But Jimmy Crute, I do feel like will get the submission in the first or second round. You know, Alonzo Menifield, like I said, did have lots of success hurting Jimmy Crute, but I do see Jimmy Crute fighting with a smarter game plan this time. I feel like he is the guy in this matchup to make improvements from the first fight, and definitely has the big advantage in that grappling, which I like to bet on. Moving on to our next fight, we have Yasmin Jauregui taking on Denise Gomes. Yasmin Jauregui, undefeated 10-0 prospect. Denise Gomes 7-2 on a 1-fight win streak, beating Bruna Brazil in her last fight. Yasmin Jauregui coming up with a minus 420 favourite. Denise Gomes coming up with a plus 320 underdog. I'm going to have to side with Yasmin Jauregui in this matchup. I just feel like she's just better everywhere in the feet. You know, Denise Gomes will have to make this a brawl to win this matchup and get her against the fence and pressure her. But I just feel like Yasmin Jauregui, she throws in combinations. She's got a very good left hook, very good leg kick, and she's just better everywhere technically on the feet. You know, that fight, her last fight, she did get dropped. So Denise Gomes does pack some power for a woman in that strawweight division. But I just think that Yasmin Jauregui is on another level in in the technical side of MMA striking. And yeah, I think that Yasmin Jauregui does have a high ceiling as like compared to Denise Gomes. Yasmin Jauregui, I do see her as a potential title challenger in the near future. Denise Gomes is good though. She looked good against Brazil in her last fight, but you know, Brazil kind of got exposed there. She kind of looked terrible. Like every time she got hit, she was reacting. But Denise Gomes, that was a good bounce back performance. I think the odds are slightly wide, but I think Yasmin Jauregui wins this matchup 7 out of 10 times, or maybe even 8. Give me Yasmin Jauregui by decision. I feel like she'll probably just sit on the outside, land straight punches in combinations, and yeah, I just feel like Yasmin Jauregui is the better fighter here. Moving on to our next fight, we have Robbie Lawler taking on Nickal Price. Robbie Lawler coming off a loss to Bryan Barberena. Nickal Price coming off a loss to Philip Rowe. Robbie Lawler coming in about a plus 210 underdog. Nickal Price coming in about a minus 260 favourite. I'm going to have to lean Nickal Price in this matchup. I just feel like the overall activity in the striking is going to be too much for Robbie Lawler. You know, Robbie Lawler doesn't do well, especially in his later career, with people who are active. You know, Nickal Price in his last fight didn't look the best, but was still able to outland Philip Rowe in his last fight. I also think that Robbie Lawler isn't reacting to punches as well, especially at this older age, which is fine. You know, this guy has been in so many wars, but Nickal Price does hit hard, and I do like the under 2.5 in this matchup. I do feel like Robbie Lawler could find a finish, but in his last fight, you know, he was hitting Bryan Barberena with some bombs, and you know, prime Robbie Lawler would definitely finish Bryan Barberena, but I feel at this older age, you know, Robbie Lawler was, you could never out Robbie Lawler, like, but nowadays I feel like you can out Robbie Lawler, especially at his age. So yeah, give me Nickal Price by finish in that second round. I think the overall activity, and he will land the bigger shot to put Robbie out or hurt him and finish him by TKO. On to our next fight, we have Jack Della Maddalena taking on Josiah Harrell. Both guys 5-0 in their last 5 fights. Jack Della Maddalena coming in about a minus 1,100 favourite. Josiah Harrell coming in about a plus 650 underdog. I'm going to obviously have to lean Jack Della Maddalena by finish here. You know, I just feel like Jack Della Maddalena is on another level to Josiah Harrell. I did watch the tape on Josiah Harrell, and I'm just not impressed. He's not very good anywhere, I'll be honest. He's not very impressive on the feet. His wrestling isn't the best. It does get stuffed on the regional scene, but when he's on top, he is a threat. He does like to transition to dominant positions, but I just don't see that happening in this fight. It would take a miracle for this guy to beat Jack Della Maddalena. He doesn't check leg kicks either, and Jack Della Maddalena has a nasty leg kick, so I definitely see Jack Della Maddalena attacking that leg kick and hurting Josiah Harrell in this matchup in the first round. Yeah, so Jack Della Maddalena first round KO here pretty easily. On to our next fight, we have Bo Nickal taking on Tresean Gore. Bo Nickal 4-0, undefeated. Tresean Gore coming off a bounce back win against Josh Fremd in his last matchup. I'm going to have to side with Bo Nickal, obviously. You know, Bo Nickal seems to have a high ceiling. I'm not sure how high it can go, but I think Bo Nickal does get it done in the first round. You know, Tresean Gore is a black belt, so he could show some resistance. The first person to show any kind of resistance against Bo Nickal, but I do see Bo Nickal definitely getting the takedown and definitely advancing to dominant positions on the ground against Tresean Gore and getting that first round submission victory. If it does extend, Tresean Gore has a good chance if he survives that first round, because Bo Nickal puts on such a high pace in that first round. It's kind of worrying. Can this guy do it for 3 to 5 rounds? Like, who knows? I doubt it. I very much doubt it, because no one in the world I've seen that's that explosive can do that for 5 rounds. But anyway, I just see Bo Nickal being too much for Tresean Gore and definitely have that big wrestling advantage in this matchup. So yeah, give me Bo Nickal by submission round 1. Our next fight, we have Dan Hooker taking on Jalen Turner. Dan Hooker coming off that bounce back win to Claudio Puelles in his last fight, and Jalen Turner coming off that controversial loss to Mateusz Gamrot in his last fight. Jalen Turner a -240 favourite, Dan Hooker a +190 underdog in this fight. I'm going to have to side with Jalen Turner in this matchup. I just feel like he is going to have a significant power advantage in this fight, and the range of Jalen Turner, he's so good at it. He'll really use his range to the maximum here. He loves that front kick to the body. His jab is very nice. He does use straight punches and catches people on the end of his punches. And Dan Hooker, I just don't think Dan Hooker has got it anymore. His chin is definitely deteriorating. He's getting hurt in more and more fights now. And this last fight, I must add, he looked so much slower. I don't know if that was because, Claudio Puelles was like that submission weird, annoyingly to watch threat. But Dan Hooker just looked slower, and I do feel like he has passed it. Ever since that Dustin Poirier beating he took, he just hasn't been the same. He's been KO'd more times than ever before after that fight, and is definitely getting rocked in more and more fights nowadays. And Jalen Turner will definitely have a significant power advantage in this fight. So yeah, give me a Jalen Turner by first round TKO. But if Dan Hooker wrestles, I could see Jalen Turner getting a guillotine choke like he did against Brad Riddell. I think that would be a smart decision for Dan Hooker to implement in this fight. But Jalen Turner is very good off his back in terms of submission threats because he's so long, and Jalen Turner has been working on that wrestling, and he's gotten so much better, as we've seen in his last fight against Mateusz Gamrot, scrambling really well and stopping the takedowns of Mateusz Gamrot in his last fight. And I thought he won that fight purely based on damage, knocking him down twice in the first 2 rounds. So yeah, give me Jalen Turner by first round TKO after hurting Dan Hooker badly and finishing him off with ground and pound. On to our next fight, we have Robert Whittaker taking on Dricus Du Plessis. Robert Whittaker on a 1-fight win streak, beating Marvin Vettori in his last fight. Dricus Du Plessis 5-0 in his last 5 fights. Robert Whittaker coming in about a -385 favourite. Dricus Du Plessis coming in about a +300 underdog. I'm going to have to side with Robert Whittaker in this matchup. This guy is just so much better everywhere. Where the fight goes, he's going to win, in my opinion. He can win by implementing the wrestling, winning minutes on the ground. He can win on the striking. He's just so much better on the feet. Technique is off the charts for Robert Whittaker. His movement is some of the best movement you'll see in MMA. His overall skill, he's one of the best fighters I've ever seen. That is in my notes. One of the best fighters I've ever seen skill-wise. The way he mixes up his kicks, the way he darts in and out off with his punches, his straight punches. Dricus Du Plessis, in my opinion, has no chance to win this fight unless he catches Robert Whittaker with that kind of blitz style. But Robert Whittaker is so good at just cutting off at an angle and avoiding something like that. To beat Robert Whittaker, you have to be extremely high level, and you have to kind of go tit for tat with him and kind of just out kickbox him like Israel Adesanya did. But I thought he beat Israel Adesanya, to be honest, and he was out jabbing Israel Adesanya. Ever since Robert Whittaker has been working with those guys in Australia in his boxing, he went to a boxing camp in Australia. He's been leveling up his boxing massively, and I do see him finishing Dricus Du Plessis. People are like, I might go the over in this matchup, but dude, Robert Whittaker's just on another level, and Dricus Du Plessis gasses in 3 minutes, and people, he did get his nose fixed, but that does not mean that does not excuse his technique and how bad it is, to be honest. Robert Whittaker is going to light him up on the feet. He's going to head kick him against the fence. He's going to go to the body over and over again, and I do see him finishing Dricus Du Plessis in that second round against the cage by TKO. Moving on to our next fight, we have Brandon Moreno taking on Alexandre Pantoja. Brandon Moreno coming off that doctor stoppage win against Davison Figueiredo, and Alexandre Pantoja coming off that rear naked choke win against Alex Perez. Brandon Moreno coming in about a -205 favourite. Alexandre Pantoja coming in about a +170 underdog. I'm going to have to lean Brandon Moreno in this matchup. I just feel like he has gotten so much better from the first two fights. In the second fight, he was throwing so many looping punches, and nowadays Brandon Moreno's boxing is so tight. He goes to the body really well. He throws way more straight punches than he usually did. He's implemented a lot more kicks to the body. That lead kick to the body he got Kai Kara France with, the leg kicks he likes to go with, and the wrestling. He's implemented wrestling, which I could see paying dividends in this matchup. Not saying that Alexander Pantoja is going to get taken down and controlled here. Alexander Pantoja is a very powerful guy on the feet, very explosive, but does slow down. He does have some amazing back takes, some of the best back takes you will see in the UFC, but he does slow down if you can survive him early, like Askar Askarov did, and like Brandon Royval did. Brandon Royval was starting to break Alexander Pantoja, in my opinion, before he made that mistake. I feel like if Brandon Royval didn't make that mistake, he goes on and wins that decision, but he didn't, so that's why Alexander Pantoja is in this position, and I just feel like Brandon Moreno won't be making any mistakes, won't be giving up his back, and I do see him winning the later rounds and maybe getting a late stoppage against Alexander Pantoja when Alexander Pantoja does slow down. Brandon Moreno, this just sits on way more. A 5-round fight against a guy that does slow down in the later rounds. So yeah, give me Brandon Moreno by 4th or 5th round stoppage. On to the main event of the evening. Alexander Volkanovski taking on Yair Rodriguez. Volkanovski coming off that loss to Islam Makhachev. Yair Rodriguez coming off that interim championship win to Josh Emmett. Alexander Volkanovski about a -435 favourite. Yair Rodriguez a +325 underdog. I'm going to have to side with Alexander Volkanovski. My pick did change just because Islam Makhachev fight. That Islam Makhachev fight showed me so much about Alexander Volkanovski's mentality. You know, I was saying for about a year now, when you would get bullied, that Yair Rodriguez is a real threat, and I was going to pick Yair Rodriguez in this fight, but I can't pick against Alexander Volkanovski, man. I just can't do it. I just feel like Alexander Volkanovski will be able to push that pace, especially early. I think Alexander Volkanovski's IQ is very high, and I do see him trying to get this to the clinch and kind of slow Yair Rodriguez down, take a book from Frankie Edgar and try and wrestle early. Alexander Volkanovski does have that type of cardio to do that, because if he stands with Yair Rodriguez early, Yair Rodriguez is very, very dangerous. You know, Yair Rodriguez does present many challenges for Alexander Volkanovski. Alexander Volkanovski has shown many weaknesses to knees, to high kicks, which Yair Rodriguez does very, very well. But I just feel like Alexander Volkanovski will be able to win this fight dominantly as the fight goes on. Alexander Volkanovski just pushes a pace like no other in the UFC. Some of the best cardio in the UFC, but even on the feet he can have success. But you know, I would say close the distance and try and grapple early. But yeah, I'm gonna have to go with Alexander Volkanovski by 4th or 5th round stoppage. Yair Rodriguez does slow down. I just can't get my head, like he was wrestled by like Max Holloway. He was doing so well on the feet against Max Holloway, but if you're getting wrestled by Max Holloway, I'm going to bank on Alexander Volkanovski to do that also. But there you guys have it. There was my UFC 290 breakdown. Hope you guys enjoyed this. Please like, subscribe, comment. A lot of work has went into this pay-per-view breakdown card. So if you can show me some love by liking the video, subscribing and commenting, it means a lot to the channel. It means that I know I'm doing a decent job with these breakdown videos. And if you're betting the card this Saturday, I wish you luck and have a good day. Peace.